always with you.
Always with You. It started off as one kind of album, like under a different name, and it just kept morphing with like, I guess as you go through the creative process, it changes. You have an idea of what you want to do, then some people can't make commitments, or you start feeling a different way about certain other songs. So yeah, it's just it kind of just, I know it's hard to put this in words, but it kind of started when like the name clicked with me, right? Where it's like I always tell people, oh, it's Bad Colors, but with a U, with a U. So then I was just like, all right, I should just call it Always With You. And this ends up being more of a collaborative process where I'm working with all these other people. So I was just like, all right, like I'm always with them, they're always with me. So I wanted to keep it that way, kind of like as a conversation between me and the people I work with. Yeah, I mean, like, luckily, I mean, in certain ways, luckily, sometimes certain ways bad, but we moved around a lot, like in my childhood. So, I've always been kind of a sponge, so I pick up things and I keep in touch with like things from where I'm from. It's kind of just like a piece of home and piece of my heart. So, yeah, it's like, obviously like UK Garage is a huge like influence on the stuff I do personally. Like I like chopping up vocals and like more R&B-ish type of chords and music, and bringing in like elements of hip hop. And growing up in Maryland, it's kind of like this nice point between like New York, the South, and West Coast music has a lot of influence too, right? Because everyone's driving down there, so West Coast they just make better car music, whereas like New York was making like the walking music, and like down south is making the club music. So like all those things are huge influence on me. Like, some of my favorite producers are from each region. I've never kept it like one specific thing. And then also even like how I got into music was I had a close friend whose family was kind of like hardcore punk music, like royalty. So the first time I picked up drumsticks, they had let me take that. So they had basement, which pretty much just always had instruments set up like bass, guitar, drums. So like the first time I picked up drumsticks, I could do like a straight eight, like a boom, and like my friend just kept pushing me on it. He was just like, yo, you're dope, like you're natural. So it's weird, like I still have that hardcore influence too in like some stuff I do. So it's like I'm very lucky that I've been around all these situations and tried to take the best from it. Like musically, I'd love to work with Battle Cat. It's like a West Coast producer who like I've just always just really been into his stuff musically. Like it's just I've always gravitated towards people like musically or lyrically who just don't really sound like anyone else, who just have their own narrative of what they do. Like that's to me is the most interesting thing like on earth. It's like how do you get to this point where you just are that different? So I think there's always like a nice story behind that. So musically, definitely am. Um, Vocally, there's so many. I mean, there's like people like growing up I'd like to work with. Like I'd love to work with like Devin the Dude. I'd love to work with like Project Pat. Um, yeah, I don't know. Just like, I mean, obviously like Lauren Hill would be dope to work with. I mean, it's just, I feel like it's like mostly reaching back into people like I grew up on, that I think still do make good music. I've always had like a very like good work ethic when it comes to that. So it's just like now, like luckily linking with Aaron and Bastard Jazz, I have like an outlet. But I still have like other artists like reaching out to me. Like I have two projects that are like almost done, like collaborative EPs. Like it's a little early to talk about with who, but those are pretty much done. That'll come out next year. And then a couple other things. I actually just got merch for Always With You today. Just picked it up, so that'll be dropping soon. Make sure you'll get one. And then yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, we're shooting a video for You Don't Know Saturday. So that'll be coming to you very soon. Shout out to Fusicology. Like, Fusicology is got the ear to the streets, It's like that's what it is. I mean, big shout out to Aaron, Bastard Jazz, believing in Day since day one. Shout out to everyone that was on the album, people that streamed it, bought it, shared it with their friends, like all that. I love that, appreciate it.